Good morning. I'm Erin Smith with Bladen Online, and I have with me Bladen County Commissioner Ray Britt. Good morning, Ray. Thank you for joining me.
Quite welcome. Glad to be here with you.
Ray, this morning I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the issues with the Bladen County elections. I'm sure you're well aware
Very much so.
of the investigation that's gone on in the 9th Congressional District and other races. And I wanted to start off asking you, as a former Board of Elections member, I understand that you served on the Board of Elections for almost 16 years.
That's correct.
Tell me what your thoughts are on this investigation.
That's a good question. That's a good one to start off with, too. And the reason that I have got so much involved is the 16 years that I was on the Board of Election. We witnessed a lot during those 16 years. Bladen County, with this investigation and the things that's gone on with this previous election and the one before, Bladen County is a good county. We've got a lot of good people. We have been tainted. We have been, as far as I'm concerned, abused. And this has drawn national attention. And the only way that I feel like that we can get to some resolve and respect back for our county and our people is to get to the bottom of this situation. In reference, and I may answer questions that you don't have to ask, and that will help you. In reference to the accusations made on McCrae Dowless, let me state this to start off with, and I've told any media that asked me. And at this time, I refuse to talk to any of the other ones coming in for the simple reason they only want to show a clip of this or a clip of that, and it'll twist what you're trying to get across. But I want to make sure everybody understands. And I told McCrae Dowless first, I said, McCrae, I'm going to tell you just like if you were my son. If you've done something wrong, you got to face up and accept the consequences and deal with it. And I preface that, and I always preface that, and I told him that before I told anybody. But at the same time, I'm also part of the process that still believes you're not guilty till proven guilty. Now, why have I come closely involved? When I got a phone call in reference to, can some of us meet in your store to be able to meet Mr. Harris? I said, that's fine. Several people have met here before. It's not like we got a big conference room here somewhere or anything, and everybody pretty well knows where we're at downtown, and they know my position in the community. So I'm like, sure, it's no problem, because I'd like to meet Mr. Harris myself. Well, Pat Melvin came, Walter McDuffie, myself, and McCrae came, and I don't know if Mark's wife came that particular time or not. I know the sheriff was coming, but he got held up. I think he was at a funeral in Aberdeen or somewhere, or Albemarle, I can't recall. But it was a good visit. I had to get up and down and wait on customers. I don't know everything that was discussed and said. But number one, I can tell you they didn't discuss absentee ballots or anything, not in my presence, I would recall that. But it was more of a casual visit. Welcome to Elizabethtown, and appreciate you coming. And he had been in town numerous times before, but I hadn't had a chance to meet him. But long story short, then comes the election, and then things starts happening, accusations is made, and this, that, and the other. And I took a personal interest in it because my name had appeared 2 or 3 or 4 times due to meeting in my store. And my experience on the Board of Elections has led me to do what I did yesterday for some people that were really concerned too. We stayed very involved with Mr. Dowless through this whole process for the simple fact not interfering with the state's investigation, but mind you, with our names being mentioned, we were trying to be concerned to find out what are you talking about, this harvesting of ballots and this, that, and the other, and people getting confused, absentee requests versus ballots. If you recall, Frances Weller went on the news one night, and my wife and I was here working at 11 o'clock. She stated McCrae Dowless turned in 100 absentee requests and signed on it. She said, and that's illegal. You know, that's fine to make a statement like that, but when you find out you're wrong, he can turn in 1 million absentee requests. But did she go on the air the next night to correct that? I don't believe she did. But my point is, I'm not downing Frances. I'm just saying this. You're jeopardizing with somebody's reputation when you find out you're wrong, give them the courtesy to go back and correct it, because how many people follow her and believe in what she says? And I'm one of them, because I think she's a good person and a good reporter. But at least fix what you stated when it's wrong. But some of us felt like that it was important when we went through the process of what we did yesterday. I drove back and forth to Raleigh all last week. My mother-in-law died the week before. They upped the funeral to like 2 days after she died just to get me back here so I could go to Raleigh and be a witness. I went every day, and I was to be a witness. Then I come back and work here to 2 and 3 in the morning. I slept about 12 hours in a week. And guess what? I didn't get to testify. Several of us didn't get to testify. Our Board of Election staff over here, it looked like they were treated like third-rate citizens. They wasn't even offered water or nothing to eat the first 2 days. I can see somebody like myself not offering you anything, but it wasn't any to obtain even in the building. I think the last day, so I can be precise and correct one, I think somebody did maybe bring up some pizza. But to see the way they were treated, and they didn't get to testify, so nobody got to testify for Mark Harris. To me, it's not about Republican or Democrat. I don't know how many people can say they were a Democrat to the day they went on the Board of Election as a Republican. And I did that to relieve Dickie Glenn off the Board of Elections so he could run for city council. So I would tell you the same thing if it was against McCready. But when our names kept being involved, Pat Melvin and the sheriff and Walter McDuffie, some of us felt it was necessary to get McCrae out so that he could continue his work, working on accounting for all the ballots, and a good job has been done with a lot of support staff in there, continuing, and we talk daily, several times daily, trying to see what went wrong, why is these accusations made, and to my knowledge, there's more, it's been accounted to now below the norm. So give us a break here. But now here's the key factor. With some of the things that I know that had gone wrong and misrepresented, and the outright truth not being told, and it verified, and anything I tell you can be verified. I knew the state had done some wrongdoing on behalf of the election board over here when I was on the board. The investigator had, quite frankly, had misled. It was confirmed the next day by the district attorney. And so I have some serious heartburns with the state, and it's proven. Our ex-director, Mr. Larry Hammond, felt the same way. When he was rated number 1 or number 2 in the state, and I'm happy to tell you I was the vice chair of all board members in the state, and I was asked by the head legal counsel, Mr. Don Wright, to be the president or chairman of all the board members. And I declined that for the simple fact I was too busy, but I'd be willing to speak for the chairman if they didn't want to. And so that was an honor just to be asked. But with Larry's background and my background, and us not to be asked to go testify, they didn't want us to testify. We're of that opinion. For the simple fact that they probably were feared that we would bring up things in the past that had been overlooked and that we never got answers for and continued to ask. And there's accountability in everything, and we're accountable to the people that put us in our position. And I felt like, and several people felt like, that to continue to get to the bottom and to restore the election process in our county, that we needed to continue looking into and give McCrae his time working with his attorney to be local here in Bladen County so that she could have access to him, that it was important to get him out so we could hopefully draw some clarification to our citizens of Bladen County. And this doesn't, to me, have anything to do with party. I mean, if one party's guilty of something and the other party, it is what it is. But let's get to the bottom of it, and let's get the truth out, and let the truth prevail. And you know, and the Bible says the truth sets you free. And so that's the reason, that's the intent, and no other reason. And I was more than happy when I was asked to go, okay, and to do so.
And so the incident you're referring to yesterday was posting the bond check.
I went myself and met Miss Cindy Singletary down, and on behalf of several people, got Mr. McCrae Dowless out.
Okay. And who put up the bond money?
Like I said, that was the individuals that was concerned for all the citizens of Bladen County, and didn't ask the other citizens to put it up, but felt the need to do it for all the citizens of Bladen County and for our county to get some integrity back into our county, where we have been unjustly just mortified as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Now, I was told the Republican Party helped post part of that bond. Can you speak to that?
The
Are you aware of
Republican
that?
Party did not do any such thing. The Democrat Party did not. This is individually, and that is their business. When they're willing to step out to do that for the constituents in their county, I take my hat off to them. Was I ashamed to go do it? No, because when your name's mentioned in something, and in this particular case, McCrae Dowless bought a house a year or two ago from Billy Ray Pate, where he furnished it at his store. If you listen to the case in Raleigh, he also, his ex-wife, he took her back in when she was sick. And then when she got out, her and her son, he also helped get furniture for her. 3 weeks ago, he got a bed for his grandson in Clarkton. But you can't let me testify, but you gonna show where Mr. Harris wrote him a check for $400. And I asked Mr. Harris, because we're friends, I said, if you write a man a check, Mr. Harris, is it okay for him to cash it? He said, Mr. Britt, I believe so. And I said, well, you know, I cashed that check because he's a customer, and he applied it on the funds at my store, and he's a good customer of mine. And I would do it again today. And because that's within the rights, and that's what you should do, you know.
And what are your thoughts of Mr. Dowless at this point, based on everything you've heard in the testimonies and all?
My thoughts on it is just what I told you. If he's guilty, he's guilty. But prove it. Allow him time to prove it. Allow his attorney time to either clear him, or then he's found guilty. That would be my thoughts. And he knows that's how I feel. But at the same time, let's allow him that opportunity. And believe me, it's not a one-sided deal in this county, and I've observed it for 16 years. That's why I say it's time for the truth to come out and see where all the corruption lies. And I think this will be a good way to start and allow that process to continue on. And it'll be interesting to watch and for it to reveal and get unfolded. I think a lot of people will be shocked at some of the stuff when they finally hear what has happened over the years, that I think they're going to be really amazed and can see why I'm upset with that at this point, because you work hard and people put you in a position to do the right thing. Well, I can tell you, the 15, 16 years, whatever, I was at that Board of Elections with Larry Hammond and him, the director, I have never been involved with anything so more ethical and honesty in my life. This man was a retired officer with Coast Guard. He was the marching delegate at the inaugural parades in Washington, D.C., representing Coast Guard. He's won the Long Lead Pine Award, the highest award you can get from the governor. Yes, I would say we did it right over on that board. We don't take to any being of, when I was there, party didn't mean anything. That's a non-partisan position, and I can truly tell you it was non-partisan. And for when you get up there and sit and watch a case like I watched last week, and when Mr. Harris was attacked by the chairman of the new board, my concern at this point is for the new board, because they're having to depend and trust on what the state board staff's telling them. When he looked at him and said, why didn't these people in Bladen County tell you about all these meetings that were being held in Elizabethtown and Bladen County in reference to all the absentee ballot problems and all in the past? I asked Mr. Hammonds, I said, am I missing something here? And said that DAs were bringing and discussing all that. We had a symposium by John David one time, but that didn't have anything to do with that. And I asked Mr. Hammonds, where did I miss these meetings? He said evidently he missed them too. So that was a strong statement. And where did that information come? It would have had to come from the staff at the state board. And these 5 new board members, they don't know anything other than what that staff's telling them. And if it's wrong, or if I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected, and I apologize now. But I can tell you only what I know. but I want what I also know to be told. And I want to go before the district attorney. Mr. Hammond wants to go before the district attorney. And when I called and talked to the FBI or the SBI on Monday, well, I might be able to get up with the man sometime later this week, and maybe sometime the following week we can get you to speak with. If this is a heart-burning, hard push case and we want to resolve, you're going to want to talk to somebody that's been on the board that many years, and you're going to tell me it's going to be 2 weeks when maybe me and Mr. Hammond should have been the first ones talked to. That would be what I would have thought. But that leads us to believe they don't want to talk to us. And not going to be biased. We're going to tell the truth, but at the same time, I'll talk to them under oath and have no problem with that. But the truth needs to be told, and I intend to get to tell it. And if it has to be when Mr. Dowless goes to court, and that way, then I can be to take the stand. And I have no problem with that, and if it goes that far. But we want the story told. The new board deserves to hear it, and the people in Bladen County need to hear it, and it's beyond the time that it needs to be discussed. I hope that answered your question.
It did. Thank you.
Thank you for coming by.
And thank you for joining us, Mr. Britt.
Yes,
we
ma'am.
appreciate it.